Hi, it's me, host Eric. I am here tonight on Google Hangouts anticipating a visit from my friends. I've got my friend Edmund and Zachary, and they should be coming. And I've also tried to invite Brandon, and I'm going to try to invite little Edmund too, I think. It benefits them to hear the policy stuff, right? You know what wins a lot of debate rounds? Something you remember hearing. It seemed unrelated at the time. You don't remember remembering it. It pops into your head, and you realize, oh, I could use that. Wins a surprising amount of debate rounds. So even if they're not debating policy, since policy is the most advanced form, I'd like my advanced debaters to be able to at least hear all these arguments, you know, familiarize themselves with them. So my hope then is going to be that they successfully make it to this hangout. I invited them, and hopefully if they check their email, they'll be able to get in here pretty soon. In the meantime, what I want to talk about is my day today, I guess, while I'm waiting. I had a big day. I'm making a video on it right now. I did a couple of really exciting things. And one of them is actually kind of exciting. The other one is quite fun. The exciting one being the the shooting of arrows with a bow. Pow. Like that. Yeah, I went and did that today. So I got some footage from that, some good footage from that. And it's encoding right now, that video. Anyhow, as I mentioned, just basically killing a couple of minutes here while I'm waiting for my debater and my coach to show up, and we're going to do some debate work. So, since we are waiting on them to get this debate work started, I will tell you a story. Once upon a time, there were three chickens who lived on a farm in the eastern part of the Russian province of Glasgow. Now, these three chickens were named Benny, Hubert, and Mary. Benny, Hubert, and Mary. Now, Benny was the wisest of the chickens, or at least he thought he was the wisest of the chickens. And Hubert didn't think much of himself. He thought he was kind of a dumb chicken, but he always seemed to find enough feed around the food lot, so to speak. Now, Mary, she was a bit of a coquette, a bit coquettish in her ways with both Benny and Hubert. But Benny, well, he had his way with the hens, let's just say. He wasn't that impressed with Mary. Yes, she was a fluffy hen. Sure, she laid a lot of eggs, but that didn't make her inherently preferable to the other hens. And so he walked around with his nose up in the air a little bit and said, Mary, please. Hubert, on the other hand, was thrown back and forth, subject to the winds of Mary's whim at all times, it seemed. And pretty soon, poor Hubert's heart was breaking. Cock-a-doodle-doo, he said one morning. Mary, you've got to stop doing this to me. What do you mean? Says Mary. I mean, you keep leading me on. And Benny walks in and says, yeah, Mary, you keep leading him on. Why do you do that? You give him signs that you're interested, and then abruptly you'll turn your attention to me, because I'm the cock of the walk. I'm Benny. Well, Mary at first looked somewhat startled, then aghast. But soon she gathered about her breast feathers, and she said, listen, guys, if you have a problem with how I behave, Hubert, then you need not pay any heed to me. As I recall, you're frequently approaching me and starting conversations. Do you expect me to be nice, or do you expect me to be mean? Well, this took Hubert quite by surprise. He hadn't expected anything of this sort of answer. He hadn't really even planned to have the conversation. At any rate, there he was, and he was flummoxed. Mary had apparently gotten the better of him in this conversation. He could think of no obvious answer. So, being a bit of a bully himself, but when he felt particularly frustrated only, generally a fairly nice fellow, Hubert, he rushed over and said, "Cluck, cluck, 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 cluck," and pushed Mary down onto the ground. And at that moment, Mary got a whole series of things happening on Facebook. What in the world is going on? Why are they not? Why are these children not at this? Yeah. Go to Google Hangouts, you guys. What the hell? I invited you all. What's the problem, for Christ's sakes? What's this? Chat? Screen share? Showcase? Q&A? Cameraman? Control room? Let's look at control room. I want to add more people to this thing. How do I do that? Invite people. Okay, I'm inviting people. Send invite as, but is this just to watch it or what? How do you get them to actually hang out with you is my point. You know, I want them to hang out with me on Google Hangouts is the problem. So why aren't they here? What's going on? Add people. I've already invited them. Zach, meh, 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 at altavista.com. Okay, well, I've invited him again now. Anyway, back to the chickens. So, as I mentioned about the chickens, there was Hubert and there was Benny and there was Mary, and at this moment things had gotten a little tense in the barn. Well, who should show up but a duck named Carl. And Carl is a duck who, well, he was a blustery duck, you could say. He's blustery. He liked to wax poetic about things. He was faintly absurd, but lovable in his own way, I suppose. And anyway, he walks in and says, "Quack, quack, 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 quack. You chickens, you're having problems with one another here. Do you know why?" And the chickens were all taken aback. And the rooster said, "Cock-a-doodle-doo. Listen here, duck. Why do you mind yourself to some duck business over there? We chickens have our own way of doing things." And the duck said, "Oh, don't give me that, Mr. Chickeny Roostery Pence. I'll tell you something. Everybody has a responsibility to be accountable for their own actions. Now look, Mary, did you intentionally give him indications that you wanted some sort of romantic fire to erupt, knowing that you were going to retract that interest later on?" "No, I never did such a thing." But at this point, Hubert is about to object quite vociferously. "Ah! And then the duck says, "No, you wait, listen to me. I've got to tell you something. Now, Mary, is it also true you possibly could have anticipated this outcome, taken very small measures to prevent it?" Clock, clock, clock. "Well, then, I think my work here is done." And then the duck left. But what he didn't know was that his work there wasn't done. And Benny killed both Hubert and Mary. Well, he's a chicken. Chickens are quite vicious little animals. You know, they're not very smart. These three chickens were unusually smart, but not smart enough to conquer the reality of their species, which is Benny killed Hubert and Mary. It was okay. The farmer ate them, so they didn't go to waste. And Hubert wasn't even a layer. He wasn't a good layer. He didn't lay a lot of eggs. So what the? Why people fucking text me and just a bunch of nonsense? All right, so where are these people? What the hell? I don't know. Google Hangouts, you are utterly failing. I'm gonna leave this broadcast now. I guess I will. Um, I will go back to GoToMeeting, figure out what the hell's going on and what the problem is, and maybe try again. I don't know. Thanks for watching this aborted episode of Debate Practice. But what wasn't aborted is a story with a really important moral. The moral of the story is, if you're a duck and chickens tell you that everything's going to be fine, don't believe them. Okay?